Can I just say that this movie was fantastic? Welcome back to my channel, guys. If this is your first time on my channel, please leave a like, subscribe to my channel, comment on the video. So I recently watched the movie The Harder They Fall on Netflix. I walked away from that movie feeling really good. So The Harder They Fall is a all-black cast, and one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about this movie is because in my previous video when I talked about The Little Mermaid being race swapped, I talked about how much I hate the fact that we were presenting old classic characters that were predominantly white. We were taking these characters and we were race swapping them to black or other races for the next generation. And I mentioned in my video that I think the best thing, or what we should be doing as the black community, is making our own IPs, making our own movies, or making our own content. To now see this particular movie on Netflix really made me so happy because it was done right. It was done right. Of course, the genre, which is basically cowboy, is something that we can say is derived from Texas, white people and things like that. But one of the things that I love about it is that we've seen the cowboys, they were very cool in the past. And instead of taking something like Django, which I think they've done already, and then race swapping the character, which I think is distasteful in my view, we decided, let's say, okay, you watch Django, you like the cowboy theme, you like those kind of stuff, and then you say, okay, let's make a movie like that, but make it in our own interpretation. I think that's far better than the Little Mermaid thing that we're doing, which is just take the character, same story, same everything, change the race. And this is one thing that I loved about The Harder They Fall, because again, it's the cowboy theme, but all black cast and our own storyline. Of course, still using the themes of the times that they lived in. Things like slavery was still prevalent, and showing like a different side of what could have been possible, or maybe probably what was possible in that time, but then making it into a nice action-packed movie with a very menacing villain. Can I just say Idris Elba is fantastic in every movie that I've seen him in so far, because man, if that guy wants to play a bad guy, he knows how to play a bad guy, and they know how to introduce him with the writing, because I could not predict what this guy was gonna do. Every time he walked on screen, I had no idea what he was gonna do, and when he did do what he wanted to do, like, oh my goodness. I'm not gonna say too much, guys. If you haven't seen this movie, I do recommend it. I think you should go and watch it. I'm just talking about it because I think this is how you do it. It's fine to look in the past and take a theme, take a style of movie. The style of the movie, I don't think belongs to anyone, even though an argument can be made for why it might belong to certain races or countries or creed, but I don't think that in itself is as harmful as what we're doing when we just take specific characters, race swap them. One of the things that I like about even Marvel was that they had Spider-Man. Spider-Man was very popular, and then they decided to make Miles Morales. And one of the things that redeemed them with Miles Morales is that they gave him his own story. They gave him a different way of getting his powers. They gave him a different life. They gave him his own neighborhood, his own character development, his parents, all that good stuff. If they hadn't done that, Miles Morales would have been a failed attempt to basically flip a character from white to black. This is my argument. This is what I'm saying. I'm saying if you want to start this whole, we don't see ourselves enough, we need more stories, this is what you do. Create movies like this, not just copy and paste of an old movie that already belongs to a people, but make your own and tell great stories. And I believe that people will come out in droves to watch it, because people came out in droves to watch Black Panther. And I think the director, Ryan Coogler, he's black, he made the movie. So I think black people will come out in droves for that. But what we're currently seeing, I don't think people like. And again, I'm not for the division of the races. I'm not for the race wars. I'm not for any of that. I just think that there's certain ways that we can do things that will minimize the division between us. The Harder They Fall, have you seen it? If you haven't, check it out. And then let me know in the comments what you thought about it. Even if you didn't enjoy the story as much much as I did, but you could appreciate what was going on in that movie in terms of it being a movie written or acted predominantly by black people for black people. If that's what we're really talking about here. If we're not really talking about representation and we're not really talking about seeing ourselves on screen, then we're just arguing for the sake of arguing, because my argument was we didn't have a problem with this in the past. I've gone back to watch a lot of old movies of the 80s and the 90s, and I see diversity in droves. So maybe we're just making up words and arguing for arguing's sake, and actually this really isn't a problem. But if it really is, The Harder They Fall is the way you do it. I thought that was one of the good movies I've watched this year. Throughout the movie, I was looking at my wife going, this is a good movie. This is how you do it. Guys, let me know what your thoughts are, and I'll see you on my next review.